This is a Hot Pie Media original.
Hi, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Amy Edwards, and I am still feeling high off of the conversation that I had today just now and wrapped up with Garrain Jones. Oh my gosh. It is so incredible. He's such a light. I'm so thrilled that he said yes to this, and because that's just who he is. And so we're going to get into that. A little bit of business up top. Please rate, review, subscribe, all those good things if you can. So super grateful. And if you ever have any questions, I'm looking forward to reading more of those in the outros these days. So write to me, amy@amyedwards.com, or hit me up on Instagram @realamyedwards. So let's get to the show. Hey, do you want your clothes to keep you looking good and feeling great? Who doesn't? Right. That's how we dress these days. And Good Life Clothing is here for it. Let me tell you about Good Life Clothing. They address how we live now, right? We may not be dressing up, but we want to look good. It's made from the finest, highest quality materials, and their collection of premium essentials keeps you, yes, you guessed it, looking good and feeling great. I know. I wear it. I have it in my closet. And they just opened a new store here in Austin at the Domain North Side. So you can stop by their new Austin location and get 20% off in store when you mention my code Amy20. But guess what? It's also good on your entire order online. And they have some really cute stuff for fall right now too. So go to goodlifeclothing.com. Remember, use your code Amy20, AMY20, and get 20% off your entire order. Elevate your game with Good Life. Hi, so grateful that you're here. Thank you so much. So our guest today, Garrain Jones, I mean, he's just incredible. I was so blown away by this, but one of the things that I was most impressed by right off the bat is that he walks the walk of who he is with everyone and treated me, I mean, just like he would treat anybody that he knew who they were and, you know, admired or something. He treated me when I just reached out cold and was like, will you do my podcast? And he was like, yes. And I say this in the beginning of the conversation. His wife said that's who he is. He remembers what it was like to be starting out. And that's how he treats people. And he wants to help them because, you know, she said, you know, you never know. But also just there's that whole aspect of just dropping your ego and really showing up in a beautiful way for people. And that is like fundamentally who he is and what he does. And I feel like that's so much of who I want to be. And it's modeled to me like, okay, no matter what or how much your business grows or how successful you become, you know, who are you going to be? Because somebody is looking up to you. So no matter where you are in life, somebody somewhere is looking up to you. And sometimes I even play a little game with myself and I go, you know, if I get like a message or something like that, I go, am I treating this person any differently than I would if, let's say, they had 500,000 followers on Instagram? That is such a good ego check-in. You go, oh shit. Maybe I am treating them different, you know? And that's a good lesson to just be able to say, all right, am I really going to walk the walk and lift every single person up and treat everyone really well? So anyway, that is a huge lesson that I've gotten from meeting Garrain and from just seeing how he is. And I really just think that's so important. We talk a lot about ego and in the conversation, and it's just been on my mind because I see it so much, and I'm pretty, you know, connected in a spiritual community, and it's interesting to see it so many times. So many times when you do see it, when you do encounter it, even in yourself, but I'm saying outside, when you do encounter it, a suggestion that I've been using is to take it as as a lesson in how I want to be or how I don't want to be. And so it helps you understand more how you want to show up in the world. So a quick message about ego. And, saying yes also to podcasts, to people who ask. Like, I think that's really a beautiful thing. And anyway, thank you to him for showing me that. I'm really grateful. So at the end of his book, which is called Change Your Mindset, Change Your Life, which, yes, I read, and now I'm going to reread because listen to the conversation and you'll hear why. It's one of those books that you're going to read and reread. And he just talks about transformation. I'm very aligned with his message. Like, it feels really right to me, and that we get to remember who we really are at the core and transform our life in the best way possible. And the very end of his book says, so rise up, king, rise up, queen, and let's step into who we were meant to be and get the most of what life has to offer us. Change your mindset, change your life. So yes, I'm excited to bring you this conversation today. Very. And if you're not familiar with Garrain, you can check him out on Instagram at garrain.jones. That's Garrain, like Garrain. And he's a transformation coach and a globally recognized speaker. He's been active in many different industries, and he overcame homelessness, prison, and he inspires others to lead very fulfilling lives full of abundance. And he speaks around the world, and he's a very powerful, charismatic speaker. So anyway, you can also find him on his website, GarrainJones.com. And I'll have all those links in the show notes. And I'm just stoked to bring you this today. I want to also speak to the fact that there's a bit of a trigger warning. He does talk about some child sexual abuse, and there are some things that really could hit you hard. So I just wanted to say that up top too. But it is a incredible and powerful conversation today. So let's get to it. Hey, you guys, I'm going to tell you about Sovereignty, why I love them, and why I'm excited to share about it. And stick around for a unique discount code at the end. So Sovereignty is creating game-changing supplements that take our workouts to the next level. They make our to-do list feel super duper easy. They make falling asleep easier. That's nice. And they just make your days brighter and your sleep better. Isn't that good? My fave, of course, Purpose Plus. So if you feel like you're out of focus, a little foggy, something like that, need a little extra push in the motivation department, well, you can have a better day, maybe even the best day every day with Purpose Plus. It's a blend of CBD, CBG, which is a mood-enhancing hemp-derived ingredient. There's also 7 clinically studied ingredients with the world's best adaptogens in order to deliver results that you can feel right away. So the supplement empowers and supports your mind and body to feel better, be better, and achieve new levels of productivity. You know, that's like a song to my heart. I mentioned sleep too. It's all about that proper recovery. We talk a lot about that in today's episode. And their product, Dream Plus, really facilitates this. It relaxes and calms the mind and body while helping you fall asleep and stay asleep longer. So it's Dream Plus. It contains 5 clinically studied ingredients, CBD and CBN, and adaptogens to help heal your body from the day while you sleep. If for any reason you are not happy with your results, guess what? You can get your money back because they offer a money-back guarantee on your first purchase within the first 30 days. How rad is that? You know they stand behind their product when they offer that, for sure. I love it. I use Purpose on the reg with every show, really, too. And it gives me a very lucid, very clear focus without a crash. And I'll drink it late in the day too. I'll drink it at like today we're recording at 3, 4 o'clock. And I'll sleep just fine. And you know what? If I need a little Dream Plus, I'll drink maybe half of one of those too. But you'll feel fine. You'll be able to fall asleep. At least I know that it's been working for me. So use code Amy for 20% off your purchase. Find out no risk. Remember, 30-day money-back guarantee. Why I love Sovereignty supplements so much. So go to sovereignty.co, use code AMY to get 20% off your first order. SOVEREIGNTY.co or sov.live. Here we are.
We did it.
We did it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for showing up. I know you get hit up to do a lot of podcasts. And so I kind of wanted to just start this and say thank you, because I reached out to you real cold. I mean, you know, Justin, but I reached out to you pretty cold just because I was like, this guy is fucking the real deal. He's amazing. And what you said spoke to me in a video I saw. And so I was like, would you be on my podcast? And you replied and you were like, yes. And I was just blown away. And when I talked to Blair, who I met just a few weeks ago, your partner, your wife, and she said, yeah, he says yes to all the podcasts. Yeah. And I just think that's who I want to be. That's the way I want to be. And you step into life letting go of so much ego. And I know that's a practice and a process. It is for me too. It's
definitely a practice.
Definitely. I was real surprised in your book, which I kind of wanted to open up talking about just a few years ago. Yeah. You had so much ego. And anyway, though, I just wanted to say to like aspiring podcasters or anyone that wants to get their voice out there, like, remember like how you feel now and who you want to be. And like, not to get too fucking big for your britches, you know? Yeah. I mean, like, I just, I really admire that about you. And it's so evident. And especially in a world when I see so much of the other side of it. Yeah, totally. I get which it. I'm sure you have too. I mean, not only have you lived it, which I really did enjoy your book. And it was an easy read. Yeah. Which is awesome.
Purposely. Because a lot of people, most people don't read.
I know, right? Let's lessen the amount of words. Put a few big pictures of things like, yeah.
Like my brother doesn't read, but when he saw those big things, it inspired to him to actually look and see what was in the chapters.
Good.
And he was like, man, that's a really good book. I was like, you are who I was trying to reach. The people who don't read.
Right.
Yeah.
Just get across simple. And plus we're all busy. Like, let's just sum it up. And I know I'm working on a book right now and I'm just trying to write it in that way. One of my favorites is The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Have you read that?
Yeah, he's so awesome.
But it's so easy to read. Yeah. And I'm like, this is my style. This is my kind of book. Like, let's just get to the point.
Yeah.
Which the point is not that hard.
People actually want that nowadays. Just straight up, straight to the point. You know, I think it's, if you are the esoteric type and you stay in the clouds, you're going to reach a small amount of people, but the masses is who you're really trying to reach, but you got to know how to translate what you're talking about. So if you say hello, then say hello. If you're like, I have this airy way to come across with the essence of my energy, boom. And that's your way of saying hello. However, you got to remember who you're talking to.
Don't you think there's some ego involved with that too? As in like projecting like maybe I'm smarter or more spiritually up
There
level?
Could be some unconscious ego. For some people, yes. But then some other people, this is probably how they were domesticated. And this is literally the only way they know how to talk.
Right.
And, you know, when you're being your authentic nature, when you're in your authentic nature, results happen to show up very differently than when you're not. So I can always tell the difference when there's a hint of ego and when there's not.
Really?
Oh, always. Because I
feel like I
person.
can too.
I was always that person. So I know me when I see me.
You're like,
I know me when I see me.
You're like, when it takes one to know one. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. If you spot it, you got it.
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. So what are your concrete practices for that all the time? Because like the ego part in this, you have a part kind of towards the end, 2/3 in, where you were just talking about in 2013, you were like, it's so funny to me because I only know this you.
Yeah.
And so I don't even know you that well, but today I will. And you just say you like came from a place of entitlement and spoke down to people and all that. Like,
yeah.
I mean.
So I'll tell you, I've had I've literally rebranded myself 4 or 5 different times in 4 or 5 different industries and made it to the almost top in those industries. And I always wondered, like, whether it was acting, whether it was modeling, whether it was sports, being a professional athlete in track and field. And I was like, man, why do I keep hitting this ceiling? So what I didn't know, because you can't change what you're not aware of, is when people were giving me all of this praise and all of this recognition for work that I actually worked hard for, I then thought it was me who created that and it was all about me. So it's kind of like if you listen to a song over and over and over and over and over again, even without trying to memorize it, you'll be singing the song for the next 30 days. So when you hear, you're great, you're great, you're great, but I didn't hear this when I was younger. I just heard, oh, you'll never make it. And so I took on the constant of the voices that I heard around my house. I'm broke. I don't have any money. I'll never make it. I'm not worthy. So you're great, you're great, you're great turns into, I'm great. Of course I am. Yep, I'm great. I'm great. I'm great. Oh, man, this shit was easy. All you have to do is not go to sleep. But I was really inflicting, because you do something for long enough, it starts to turn into confidence. You'll start mastering it.
Yeah.
So I started mastering I'm great, not even knowing that was my ego going, I'm back. Mm-hmm. So I'm great. It translates to I'm back. So as the ego was coming back, I'm like, well, why did I lose that job? Why did my girlfriend just break up with me? Why am I losing all these things? And what I now realize as I connect the dots looking backwards, that the ego was very similar to weeds in a garden that don't need anything to grow but time. So I don't care how beautiful your garden is. You can 10 years, most perfect garden of the year, leave it unattended for 6 weeks. So I left my mind unattended from growth, from love, from just like
gratitude, maybe
gratitude, all these different things. So the weeds of your past and the weeds of negativity and the weeds of self-doubt start creeping in. And then it turns into this nasty so-called garden called ego.
Yeah.
And that's, once I realized that, because see, before in all the different industries, I didn't know that I was the one that was causing that. I'm like, why does all this bad shit keep happening to me? I mean, it's like I just get to the highest of the highs. I'm featured in Forbes. I'm featured on E! News. I'm with this. I'm doing this thing. I'm signing a $500,000 record deal with Ludacris. I'm on MTV. I'm on Beat. I'm like, how do I keep losing it? What happened in modeling? Same thing. What happened in acting? Same thing. It wasn't until I got into the self-development world, I was like, oh, leaders are readers. They keep reading. They keep growing. They're building people up. They're not talking about people behind their back. So it took me 4 different genres in the industry for me to finally get it, because I was always supposed to be out there. I just didn't know that I was the one causing myself to get out there and causing myself to take it all away just by my attitude, which reflects leadership.
How would you explain the difference then between I'm great, ego based, and I believe in myself? Because I think that people can probably get those two things the line gets a little murky.
Yeah. So, there's I'm grateful.
Oh, I like that.
I'm really big on words.
Me too.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
They have so much power. Mm-hmm. I've been just in my own word shift. I'm constantly, and I'll point it out to my friends. I'm like, okay, well, you just said you're not great at names. So I guess you're just not great at names.
Totally. I'm struggling. How about I'm having a growth opportunity?
Yeah.
Which means you're about to grow.
Yeah.
So, I am grateful in finding more empowering words that give you a different narrative at life. And when it feels good in your soul and when it's not. There's the people know it's like, oh, I'm great. I'm great at this. But are you trying to prove something to somebody while saying I'm great? Or are you just honoring your soul? Because when you actually say those things, that word has something attached. Be mindful of the energy that's attached to the words that are coming out of your mouth.
So you're saying great would have an energy attached to it that's like more ego-based?
It could be.
Okay.
But I just know that
what other words?
The person who is saying that always knows.
Well, I don't go around saying I'm great.
Yeah. And so it's like, I remember I would say, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. I'm going to win the Olympics. I'm going to win this. I'm going to win. But I was trying to prove something to somebody. And you know what who I was trying to prove it to? And this is where I get this from. It's, whatever you're domesticated with as a child turns into the evolution of you as an adult. I say adults are deteriorated children until you wake up and find out you can create a different identity for yourself. Jimmy Miller, when I was 9 years old in elementary.
Calling him out by name.
Jimmy Miller was the fastest kid in school. And he was 2 years older than me. And then finally I beat his record. And there was a guy named Jimmy, there was me, and there was Robert Glasper. They took 3 kids.
What'd you do, the 100-yard dash?
No, the mile.
The mile?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they stopped school. This is how big this was. They stopped school just so these 3 athletes could have a runoff to see who's the fastest kid in school. I'm leading the whole race. I'm looking myself across the finish line. I'm looking at Jimmy Miller behind me. He dives. Coach gives both of us the same time. 6:01. So 6 minutes and 1 second.
Damn.
I was 9. He was 11.
Wow, that's fast.
Oh no, I was a beast when I was a little kid. And I ran that time. And for the rest of my life, I was gutted up until like maybe 3 months ago. I will prove that I'm the best. I will prove that Jimmy Miller didn't win. So if you know how ABCs works, ABCs turn into words, into sentences, paragraphs, essays, books. Now, take the ego base. I'm going to prove that I'm the best. I'm going to prove that I won that race as a form of ABCs and keep that running over 30 years. So so many things in my life, the energy came from a little 9-year-old who was trying to prove that he was the best. So whenever I said I'm going to win, in the back of my mind was a little 9-year-old that was like filled with unconscious ego saying that I'm the best, that I'm going to win. And I won a lot of races, but at what cost?
I mean, is that chip on your shoulder? Who are you trying to prove it to, though? Yourself?
Exactly. No, I was trying to prove it
to the world
over and over and over. I beat Jimmy Miller. So I'm always asking people, where does I'm great come from? Like, who are you saying it to?
What happened 3 months ago when you finally got rid of it?
Oh man, let me tell you something. I don't get hurt anymore.
But what'd you do?
So
what pushed you through that?
So here I was having a psilocybin ceremony.
Okay.
And all of a sudden I was like, I want to discover what's in the way of me living my fullest expression. As soon as I dropped in, I start running. I'm like, why? I literally went back into the race.
Stop.
And I was like, I swear I won the race. And I was angry and I was crying. This was only 3 months ago. And I was like, oh shit. So when I was out of that and I had the awareness that everything was connected to that, my boy Samson goes, Garrain, you don't have anything to prove. You've already won. And I was like, so I can just live my life and be the best version of myself.
Yes.
Without prove-it energy.
Without prove-it energy.
It's very different, vastly different.
I like that.
And what was connected to that was even my weight. I've been 175 pounds for the last, I'd say 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime I would I would teeter to like 179. I would go do a bunch of things and I was like, it's okay. I'll lose it in a week. And then I would get back to 175 and I get back to 175, get back to 175. After the prove it thing wasn't there, all of a sudden, and a friend of mine, I told him, I was like, oh, it's okay. I'll lose it. I'll lose the weight in a week. He was like, I don't know if that's a good thing or if that's the problem. And I never thought about the other side. I always thought it was a good thing. So that had me thinking, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to work out to be the best version of myself and not try to prove I can be the most ripped or have the best abs or have the best this, whatever. And all of a sudden I look at the scale and I'm 197 pounds.
Whoa.
But
you look great.
No, but I'm 197 pounds, 6.9% body fat.
So it's just
and I've never had that before in my life. And I was like, wait, what happened? I didn't even know I was depriving my body of what my body was craving. My body was trying to go somewhere. And because of the proving, which I got results, it was at the extent of me suffocating my body from really experiencing where it's wanting to go. So now I feel lighter than I felt in the last 15, 20 years. I'm faster, quicker. I'm more flexible. I breathe better. I sleep better. Everything is better.
Wow.
Within like literally 3 months.
Dude, you've had a big okay. So I think that's really interesting because of the title of your book, Change Your Mindset, right? And so, I think people can feel like they have to be rigid in their mindset, the word set, like, okay, I have to adopt this new way of thinking. But part of the mindset is actually about that growth you were talking about and about the practice. And the fact that you wrote this, a year ago or 2 years ago? Or?
I wrote it 2 years ago, but it was years of stuff that I put in there. But the process, I could write a book on the process of writing that book because I had 10 books worth of stuff that I tried to put in there that I just took it all out.
I have no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, but the point I'm making too is that just 3 months ago, since you've done this, 3 months ago, you already had this amazing push.
Oh, yeah.
Already more growth. So I guess I'm trying to say I don't know how to phrase this in a question, but we can get set. Don't get stuck on the word set. You like words.
Absolutely.
So don't get stuck on the word set, change your mindset to a growth mindset.
Absolutely. Because Jim Rohn says the essence of life is growth. And if you just look at trees, they'll grow until they're done.
Yeah. You have a whole thing on nature in here.
Birds will fly as high as they possibly can. So when you think about that growth, it's like, could you possibly grow to your fullest expression?
Yeah. I liked this quote. It reminded me of it. You were born looking like your mom and dad, but you'll die looking like your decisions. Dude. But yeah, you're going to look like, did you choose to grow?
Yeah. Did you choose to drink, do alcohol, beat up people? I mean, domestic violence. I've never had a sip of alcohol in my life.
You've never had a sip of, how did you do all this without a sip of alcohol?
Because I had another vice.
Which was?
Just recognition. I would do things and people were like, oh man, you're fearless. And I would do it 10 times more. Oh yeah. Recognition was good because I never got it growing up. So my vice became, I'm trying to do whatever I can do.
No, and then you were robbed by Jimmy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So I'm trying to do everything that I can do so that I could get people's attention so that they can say good job. Because all I was a little kid that never heard those words growing up. I was deprived of you matter, you're special, you're important. So anybody who ever said those things to me, I just gravitated towards them.
That was like an addiction?
That was a major.
It was an addiction?
I did everything to fit in with that group.
Wow.
Everything. Breaking into cars, breaking into houses. I broke into 62 cars in one night.
Wow. Did you get anything good?
Oh yeah. Guns, money.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah. See, what I used to call it back in the day when I was uneducated, call the rich neighborhood, we call it the white neighborhood. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, let's go to the white neighborhood. And so we would go to the white neighborhood and people would just leave their doors unlocked. I was like, you deserve to get robbed. So I didn't have to break into cars. I would just open it and then they would just leave stuff there. So I would take the radios and take things and I would take it to school the next day and sell it. I was a hustler like crazy.
How do you make peace with like that stealing now? I mean, how do you feel about that?
So what happened was I thought I got away with all of those things. And then one day I got busted for smuggling drugs.
That's in here.
The thing was, is as soon as it happened, I said, this isn't the reason why I'm getting busted. And I said, it finally came back to get me. They sentenced me to 12 years and I got out in 2.5 because my whole outlook on the way, on life and the way that I saw myself and how I was treating people completely shifted. And I feel that when you fill up like this container here, when you fill up the container, it spills over into the next container called the physical evidence in your life. So my container of love and joy and self-love filled up while I was in prison. So in losing my freedom, I found my freedom. It filled up because I was doing everything in prison that I wouldn't normally do out there. I was just getting back to drawing. I was singing. I was running. I was inspiring people. And then that got spilled over into the people. And then the other people were doing that for other people. Less stabbings, less drug deals, less all kind of things that I was seeing. And I feel
that's so profound
that it
and
was
powerful.
too big for the space. So just like a baby that grows in the womb, it's too big for the space. The next level for the baby is produces called birth. So my birth was freedom. And those drugs was 6.2 kilos of heroin. They tested them 3 times. So why when I was in prison and before I went in, I was like, I feel like I'm so far away from where I'm supposed to be. I feel like I'm in prison to the point where I attracted being far away in France in prison.
Holy shit.
But how I got out is when I felt free. You can hear free. And then these people talk about freedom, all on social media. True freedom, what I feel, is when you have the power to possess your own mind and it's clean in your heart, really.
So true.
And so when I became that in prison and I was building people up with my joy and my love, too big for the space. So just like the baby, the womb was prison. And out of nowhere, I always say out of nowhere, but when I felt free, they just so happened to retest the drugs. Jones, we retested the drugs for the amount that that's real. You've already done the time, but the rest is fake. You're free to go home.
Just one day they just were like,
out of nowhere, they called me in the office.
What'd you do? Did you cry?
Wild. No, I was like, yo, this
You're
is
like, am I dreaming?
It didn't become real to me until they took those cuffs off me because they had me in cuffs.
Did you speak French, by the way? Or
when I was in there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah. I didn't speak going in, but like I was the only American there. So eventually every single day for 2.5 years,
wow,
you'll become fluent if you want something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it became real to me when I got off the plane and they took those cuffs off and I kissed that graveled rock and I'm like, yo, I'm home.
That's incredible. Are you a fan? Do you know Byron Katie's work at all?
I know the name.
Well, she has this little process of questions and it's like anything that you're saying in your mind, like I'm not capable or whatever it is, or I'm in prison. And you're like, is that true? Can I really know that to be true? And then the third question is, how would I feel if I could never think this thought again? And the answer to that, like every time I do it with anything, is free.
Mm.
Like, and so much of what we do, if we really go deep on it, like with you, like if you really, really go deep, like you said, into your heart and into your mind, like the answer is always, we're holding ourselves hostage with our minds, it seems like. And if we could just...
This is a whole nother conversation too, because I hear people all the time. They're like, there's this freedom here and freedom there. I'm like, freedom to love or freedom from love? I was like, you got to be real clear because there's a certain energy around it. And so it's freedom from love. Then you start doing all these negative things. Freedom to love, that it doesn't carry a negative frequency.
Whoa, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I've never thought of it like that.
Yeah. And I'm in Texas.
Yeah. Well, we're all
Freedom
about...
to or freedom from love.
Oh. Can you expand on that some more?
Oh, absolutely.
I want to think about this some more.
Because I have a friend.
Mhm.
I have a friend who's like, oh man, they can't censor us and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, he's doing all this negative stuff. And I'm like, say,
like
bro,
what exactly? Like posting, like
no, he's
talking,
man,
or
he is just like ruthless with the way he's saying certain things. I said, man,
I want a specific example.
okay, so he says something. He says something to this Jewish lady that was very racist. Like,
wow.
But for no apparent reason. He was like, I can do whatever I want. It's a free country. I was like, man. And I've just known him since I was like a little kid. So he's not like my friend, but it's like somebody I've known for a long time. I said, if I didn't know you and you came up and said that to me, you would definitely give me rights to punch you in your fucking face. And you're not going to do anything about it. And he just like stopped. He's like, why would you do that? It's a free country. I was like, when you say the word freedom and you just want all this freedom, you don't even know how to control your own self. So is it really worth you having freedom when you don't even have freedom inside of your own body?
Wow.
And he was like, so I told him, I said, I love freedom with healthy boundaries. Nobody runs a sprint with no destination. So with healthy boundaries, it causes people to not get hurt. And so if you just completely let open the whole gate and everybody says what they really want to say, and I say what I really want to say, I promise you there's going to be a lot of hurt people. That's not worth it to me.
Not only that, you have to get to the bottom of why you really want to say it.
Yeah. And here,
why do you really want to say that?
And why do you really want to say it? Because then you take it all the way back and you come down to somebody who truly doesn't love themselves, whether they're aware of it or not. So then you say, I want this freedom. I want this freedom. So you go searching for something. Okay. So if you're running away from your heart, that is freedom from love. If you're running to your heart, that's freedom to love.
Yeah.
So when you're contributing to things that's contributing to love, the energy is very different. You can just feel it.
It's almost like, I had a moment where I was like, oh, that's real freedom. But no, that's labeling it as it's real either way. It's real if you're free from it. It's real if you're free
you can
to
tell.
it.
You can always tell.
I mean, it's real no matter what, I guess is my point. Like, instead of just labeling one way as real, like, it can be real.
Freedom is freedom. Yeah. However, you just got to be real clear on what kind of freedom that you want. If bad shit keeps happening to you over and over and you keep preaching freedom, I would actually check in with your energy. I would really, because bad shit don't happen to great people over and over and over again. We're the most powerful magnets in the world. The most powerful magnets in the world. And you will manifest that which lies deep within you over and over and over again.
How many times did you actually hear that before you actually did it?
Because I didn't allow myself to hear people.
Oh, so you just sort of shut it out.
No, what I had to do was hit the brick wall. So I learned the hard way.
The prison way.
I learned the prison way. I learned the live in your car for 2.5 years way. I learned the girlfriend break up with you, mom dying in the hospital, you being $200,000 in debt way. And I'm like, yo, there's something that I'm doing. Obviously, it's me. It's not the other people. And that's why I always tell people, yo, I don't give a damn who the president is. Nobody can control what I'm going to do with my dreams. And I just remember blaming my skin color, blaming the news, blaming the weather, blaming the president. And I never, ever blamed myself. And the first time I said, Garrain, nobody stopped you from not writing a book. Nobody stopped you from any of those things. You gave up on you. And that's what I tell people all the time. Before you go vote for anybody, go vote for yourself. I dare you.
Ooh, I love that.
I dare you to put a sign in your yard and say, I vote me 2022. I dare you, and put the same kind of energy, the same kind of research to see how you can make your life better, how you can make your work better. I dare you to do that. And then watch you double your dollars. Watch, instead of doubling hate or doubling all this other stuff. Double how your family experiences life. Double your lifestyle. Double your happiness. Double your joy. When you choose yourself, vote you. I was literally going to run a campaign where I was going out.
Please do.
And that was going to be one of my books.
There's still time.
The
Please
President
do.
of the United States of You.
Yeah. Oh my God. This is,
Yeah.
yes. Please, that's trademarked right now, though. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's yours. Oh my God, yes, yeah. You know, I spent some time as an activist for better gun laws in the U.S. And man, I had to bow out of that space for a while because I just felt like there was so much inner work to do to get right with myself, you know, and I'll still connect with those people, and they're awesome people.
Absolutely.
But I don't know. I was really struck by how much negative it influenced me.
Oh, your dreams get weird and weird shit starts happening.
Mm-hmm.
That's that energy. That energy, when it's, and a lot of times people don't even know.
Oh,
That's the
certainly
worst
not.
part.
I don't think they do.
You can't change what you're not aware of. And then when you try to make it aware, maybe they don't want to look at it, so they go around it, and then it's because they don't teach you emotional intelligence in school.
I think you say that in the first line of your book. Like, you can't change what you're not aware of. Like,
they don't teach you emotional intelligence in school. So when somebody tries to say something, it's like, no, go within, go within. People show up in environments where they feel the most safe. So if there's 9 million people saying one thing and there's 1,000 people over here saying another thing, there will be more people in the 9 million that actually feel like this, but they won't show up on this side out of fear of what will happen if the 9 million people come after it, and because they're watching what's happening to these people. So they show up in environments where they feel the most safe, even if they don't all the way believe it.
oh, absolutely. We've seen it over and over throughout history. So what do you tell them?
The best thing I do is I lead by example. I don't make anybody wrong. I tell people all the time, they're like, why do you have friends that voted for Trump? And I was like, because I want to. Why do you have friends that voted for Biden? Because I want to. You have friends that didn't even vote. Yeah, I actually do, because I actually like people, and I don't want to live in a world where everybody thinks the fucking same. I'm not a robot. I don't want to be around people who think exactly like I do. I want somebody to challenge me, because maybe and I consider myself educated enough to hear underneath what people are saying, whatever their argument is. I was like, maybe I should look into that. Maybe I should look into this. And it's so funny because I have certain viewpoints, just like in regards to like COVID and vaccines and things like that. And because my viewpoints are this way, they're like, oh, you voted for this person. I was like, I actually didn't. This has nothing to do with who I voted for. I just love thinking for myself. And when shit don't make sense, I'm going to ask. And, I was that guy when I was a little kid. They were like, why are you being so hard-headed? Why can't you just listen to what your parents say? Because I don't want to, because this doesn't make sense to me. Why is the sky blue? Because it says it in a book. What does that mean? I need context. So now fast forward all these years, I'm still asking, this shit doesn't make sense to me. This doesn't make sense to me. This doesn't make sense to me. Oh, I formed my own opinion based off my own research here. So people will take that and be like, oh, you voted for this. I was like, this is crazy. And that's why a lot of people don't say anything.
Yeah.
Because they're like, do I really want to go into this? Fortunately for me, I put out so much good in the world and I have no hate from me on any of my platforms. So I've attracted a lot of those kind of people who don't put out a lot of hate. So when hate comes on my page, it's like hundreds of thousands of people that kind of tell them to shut up. But that's that energy. That's that energy again. So I just, we're going off on a tangent, but this is really good quality stuff.
It is. It's really good quality stuff. Okay. Changing just a little bit about attracting. One thing I really liked in your book was that resonated with me because I do it. Is you made a list of your partner. You made a list of your dream partner, and I did that too. And I honed it over a couple years, but I thought it was interesting because I kind of combined two things that you did. So you made a list of her, but then you also have, later in it, you talk about in business, become the person you want to attract.
Yes.
And so that's what I did with my dream partner. And I've started to do it with business too. And I did it, when I wrote up the list of the person I wanted to attract, I was like, fuck, that person's with someone really awesome. So I better become really awesome. Hi. And there he walked in right now.
My guy.
With my daughter. Hi. And so I wrote up a list of who I wanted to be. And so that's just what I worked on and focused on.
Yeah.
And I felt like you did that. You did it without the list in business. About becoming the person.
I wrote that list in business.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. But when it came to my wife, I've always been somebody who manifested things in my life. And any relationship book I ever read, I always skipped the relationship chapter.
Why?
I was like, nah, because I had issues with commitment. And I was just like, I don't want to be committed to one woman. I just want to kind of play the field for the rest of my life. I couldn't see
freedom in a different way.
Literally, I could not see it. I don't want to be on lockdown. These were these old paradigms that I had. And I remember there was a book called When God Winks, but it's the first edition by Squire Rushnell. It's 7 more editions, and they cut this chapter out. But it's a session on soulmates. And then I read that book 9 times, and I skipped that chapter every time. On my trip back to back from Brazil, I was like, you know what? I was like, fuck it. I will read this damn soulmate chapter. So I read it, and then it says, be really specific. And then I wrote down 3 things. I want a exotic girl, nice body, nice legs. I was like, wait a second. That's the kind of girl that I've gotten my whole life. Let me actually be specific. And halfway through the list, I was like, nah, that's too much. I was like, wait. So I'm negotiating with myself. I was like, wait a second. Let me actually, this is my soulmate, be as picky as I want to be. And I wrote down 62 attributes. I'm talking about makes her own money. She's God-fearing. She's masculine and can easily slip into her feminine. Loves traveling. Loves fitness. Very well disciplined. Loves reading. Loves personal growth. I'm just making a transformer of a woman. I'm like, this person surely is married. There's no way. However, whoever this is will be the mother of our 2 children. And then I wrote down those 62 attributes. And then I wrote down how I wanted to feel in the relationship, which is most people miss.
Ooh, that's
so they
good.
get these things, but they was like, man, but I don't feel, yeah, because you weren't specific on how you wanted to feel and how you were going to treat them. So I wrote that down. And then the top 5 places that I'd never been to where I would meet her. And so I had never done website dating. I logged into Bumble. I had never, I was not really going to like personal development seminars. So I put all these things, art shows, and I circled personal development seminar, started. And I was like, this is a person that reads books and loves personal growth. Man, maybe this is it. And I forget about the list. This was 3.5 years prior before I met Blair. Within those 3 years, I had this weird relationship with my daughter where we had a relationship. No, we didn't. But I never really had a grasp on the relationship for 15 years. It just so happens I wasn't half those things on that list. But when my daughter came back into my life, I had let her in a way that not even my mom was that close to my heart, because this one guy, Steve, said to me after this 10-day silent retreat, he was like, you're a good looking guy. Safe to say you can get any girl you want. And I said, yeah. He said, get a date with your daughter. And I was like, oh, she's a girl. I've got to court her. And then I just got really excited and I really started to pursue her like I would pursue a woman that I really wanted. And then the relationship changed just like that, because when I was trying to have the relationship with my daughter, I was trying to make up for 15 years where I didn't love myself. And you cannot make up for the past no matter how much you try. So every conversation I had with her, I said, oh, how are you? How are you doing? And I had this weak little voice. So imagine this. I'm having this weak voice because I'm carrying the energy of this weak person. Meanwhile, I'm saying in my mind, I hope she sees that I've changed. And nothing would ever change. And then one day after Steve said that, I said, you know what? I am the most powerful representation of who she will marry one day. And I don't know what it was about those words. I am the most powerful representation of who my daughter will marry one day. It was like this, just puppet master from the heavens was controlling me to do things, say things, energetically give my energy in ways I had never even seen because my dad wasn't around. So I didn't even have an example of what that looks like. But whatever that was brought my daughter to my life just like that. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. When she came in, I let in my heart and she started showing me things I never even saw through my mom. So then it started shaping my paradigm to not see women through my dad's eyes, which was very unhealthy. I started seeing women through my daughter's eyes. And then that's when I met my wife. 2 weeks after I met her, I found my book. So that was a 3.5 year process. And I read the book and I read all 62 attributes. And I was like, yo, it's Blair, everything. And I've never even had a freaking white girlfriend, blue eyes, who was born on a farm. None of it made sense, but it made all the sense in my heart because I wrote it down and I wasn't particular on a color, but I was particular about 62 attributes and she treated me exactly how I wanted to feel. Now, the things that she didn't have on her own, she was already in the process of working on them. And I was like, yo, this shit works. On relationships too. So now I have a rolling list. So if I think of new things and all of a sudden it just starts playing in the list.
For
even right
everything.
now.
For business, for what I do too, actually. That's why I'm
so a rolling list even in the relationship. So,
really?
Yeah. So it's not those 62 things weren't set. So because I've grown from the 3.5 years we've been together.
Yeah.
So there's more needs and there's more ways that I want to feel in it. And I was like, I want this. So I'll write it down. And then all of a sudden, it somehow makes its way into the...
Like what? What did you write down recently? What's one that you wrote down that showed up?
So I love how you love examples.
I love specifics.
Okay, so I have this thing where my wife is a really powerful woman. She's
so cool.
Powerful.
I really just loved her the instant I met her.
Yeah, when she goes into business, she's a freaking pit bull. She's like powerful. So am I. When you take two alphas and put them in the same room, shit does not work.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp is affordable, private, online counseling. You can talk with a licensed professional therapist online, and you can elevate to the next level because sometimes we just need that little push, need that little bit of help. And BetterHelp is here to help you from the comfort of your own home. They'll assess your needs. They'll match you with your own licensed professional therapist, and you can start communicating with them in under 48 hours. It's not a crisis line. It's professional therapy, and it's done securely online. I mean, how great is that for peace of mind, right? Which we need, especially when we're feeling like we need that extra bit of help. There's a broad range of expertise available too from them, which may not be locally available in your area. It's available worldwide as well, and you can log into your account anytime and send a message to your therapist, which is really cool because sometimes you just feel like you're disturbing someone. And this takes that out of the equation. You're able to just send them a message whenever you need it. You get timely and thoughtful responses and quick responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you don't ever have to sit in the waiting room. You don't even have to drive there and back. It just takes all that time right out of it. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change therapists if needed, because that can be really stressful in itself. It's also, as I mentioned, affordable. It's more affordable than traditional offline therapy. And you guys, take note of this. Financial aid is available too. So BetterHelp, they're committed to helping you live a better life today. You can check out their website, and they have a ton of testimonials that they post every day. In fact, I'm looking at one that was just posted today. I'm going to read it to you right now. It says, 1 year ago this month, I started therapy. I never dreamed at this moment I finally had made a decision that would ultimately change my life so much for the better. The help of my fantastic therapist, whose vast knowledge, humor, and perception of knowing exactly when to push me to my own voice and pull me up when I had very little to no confidence in myself. I'm forever grateful, and I really can't thank him or BetterHelp enough. Oh, y'all. That is so amazing. And how fast? A month. That's so cool. So you can go check them out at betterhelp.com/AES for Amy Edwards Show. That's help, HELP, and join over 1 million people who've taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. In fact, so many people have been using it that they're adding additional therapists across all 50 states. So cool. So this is a special offer for people that are listening here to the Amy Edwards Show. You can get 10% off of your first month, and look at what 1 month can do too. So 10% off, simply go to betterhelp.com/AES.
So I wrote down that I want to create some kind of fluidness in our relationship where the alpha feels safe to be the alpha. And in the, so it's the thing. So now, cool. So what happens is whenever she's in her alpha, I slip into my feminine energy, because all humans have masculine and feminine energy inside of them. So I easily slip into it, give her the space. When I'm in my alpha, she doesn't flex her alpha. She goes into the same thing. So therefore, there's polarity in the relationship instead of unhealthy fireworks. It cannot be masculine and masculine. It's masculine and feminine. or feminine and masculine. If it's masculine and masculine, you throw off the polarity. So to create that flow, but that was something that was written down. And I was like, yo, this is like Houdini shit. Crazy.
Did you have to change any of the list in any way that you wrote it because the words were off?
That list is still there.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled out another.
Or business, even in business. Because I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Like what?
For sure in business.
So how many lists have you got first? You got a business one and
business
else?
one, sex one.
Oh, whoa. Hold up. A sex one?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, tell me about that.
Oh, yeah. I got to pull out my phone.
Please. Yes, please.
We have a business meeting every Sunday. A love business meeting at 10 a.m. every Sunday. So
tell me more.
Magic in our relationship.
Oh, well, shit.
So it's not just sex, but there's a list when it comes to how we would like to conduct our week.
Okay.
So before the week starts, the problems we used to have is she would have something on her schedule and I wouldn't know about it. And I would have something on my schedule and I was like, wait, and she had something planned and then I really want to go. But then there's this, but I'm going to stay home. And so I'm all bitter and resenting her. That was a buildup. Then our friend Adi and Michael showed us this list and we took it on and it has been so magic. So it's a schedule. We go through the week, make sure we have date night, at least one day where we're moving together. So whether we're walking, whether we're doing some kind of fitness, we make sure we aren't missing anything that's happening for each other so we can have ways to support one another. And we say, is there anything that you need support with this week? I'm like, baby, I need you to touch me more. Or I need you to say great job because I'm doing a lot of hard stuff. That's the first part. Next one, date night. What are we doing? Does it need to be moved? How can we make it special? How can we improve from the week before? Next one, sex. What do we want it to look like? Exploration. Anything we want or need? Create intentional time to play. Practice being dominant or submissive. That's part of it. So one person takes the lead and the other one is enthusiastic with wherever they want to take it. Okay, let's go. Okay, it's like the enthusiastic energy.
Wow.
This was the big one.
Okay.
Anything left unsaid? Are we holding on to anything, complaint, issue, or even compliment we didn't say? Come from neutral. We are here to better our relationship. Last one, praise for self and others. One, at least one acknowledgement for yourself so we don't bypass any of our wins inside of our own body. Number two, at least one acknowledgement for the other. Try to be creative and find something new.
I need that list.
I'll send it.
Yes,
yeah, no,
do.
it has been the foundation on which our weeks, months, and years built. Everything changed when we share each other's calendars. So therefore, if she wants to plan a surprise something, she knows there's free time. I have her calendar. She has my calendar and we talk about it. I have this. She knew I was coming to this. I have this podcast. Boom, 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 boom. She's like, I know you have your podcast. Just want to say congratulations. I don't have to say anything. You know what I'm saying? But so that creates all of the, it creates safety for the unsaid, for you not to be in the gray. When my wife is in the gray, it doesn't work. So when she has the foundation and she doesn't have to think and she knows, then it creates this mama bear type safety. And then she doesn't have to think and have this resentment because I'm gone because she already knows. So yeah.
It's just attention and security.
Absolutely. And that's what I've learned is women need that. They need the nesting, which is why she's wanting to change the house because women nest. That's what they do. And that provides safety and security. And, I'm a believer in God and I read the Bible and everything. It's like Eve came into an environment that was already completed. So it makes sense to me.
So she had to
when
fuck it up.
Women, right? When women like there's a need for safety and security. And it makes sense why men are the hunters and gatherers in a certain aspect. But you can always see when it's out of alignment because all that negative tension starts building up. When I started building stuff, I ain't never picked up a hammer in my life. When my wife got pregnant, I became 10 times the man I am today. She's like, oh, baby, that looks sexy. I was like, oh, shit, what? I'm building stuff. I'm like hammering things. And that was all a part of the list that we create. So because the lists support us in growing into the next level.
So what does your business list look like?
God. Oh, my God.
How often do you revisit it? Because I feel like I've let mine go a little bit and I need to, I feel like I have to keep it kind of alive almost.
So my thing is I operate from mission.
Mm-hmm.
So mission pulls me and I always say, give me any platform. And so when you think about the Pacific Ocean that has all the power, it's like, whoo, and it's like feeding the rivers and the rivers feeding the ocean. It's like, boom. But the ocean, it's like there's this big ocean. It has the biggest fish. It has the biggest everything inside of there. Pacific Ocean is like my mission, to create a safe space where voices that don't share anything feel safe to be who they are and use their God-given gifts to produce extraordinary results in their lives. Give me any platform,
yes.
Whether it's radio, TV, it doesn't matter. That's why I can keep going and going and going because the mission is pulling me. I'm just clear. I'm so super clear. I'm not like, I'm going to go create this t-shirt. I'm going to go design these golf clubs. Like, what does that have to do with my mission? So once I'm stuck in the mission, that's what pulls me. And because I'm clear internally here, I feel like the universe is like, well, let me give you all the necessary resources so that you can complete this mission. So if that means create this empowered brotherhood where I'm the co-founder of this empowered brotherhood in Austin, that's in the process of being created, whether it be that, whether it be my book, whether it be on podcasts, whether it be on, Forbes or whatever, all of that, those things aren't those things. Those things are things that support me in getting closer to my mission. And so I don't have like per se a business list, but I have the mission list and the things that I will not contribute to because it's not connected to my mission. Doesn't make sense. Like, why am I going to the right when the direction is here? So that just
do you check in with everything? Like everything that you do you sort of check in? Oh,
everything. That's
good. I just want to remind people that.
This really podcast, any type of workouts, anybody that I hang out with.
Ooh, person?
Anybody that I hang out with, I'll stop
shit.
And I'll be like, okay. Or not at the moment.
That's how I was about to say, how do you tell them
Not
that?
at the moment.
Just not at the moment.
Yeah. Creating healthy boundaries for myself allows me to achieve 10 times more, 10 times faster. Because I don't get caught up in things that excite me for the moment. It's because it's excite me, but at what cost? I'm always checking in. Oh, let's do lunch. Not at the moment. Let's check back in a month.
That takes some courage because, you want to, I don't know, maybe I'm speaking from a woman's perspective, but, I have a lot of pleasing, that I have to really stay on top of. And it's better the older I get, I'm more able to say no, but that's impressive that you can just.
It's definitely a practice.
Again, everything is. I mean, what isn't?
But I tell people all the time, it's like, if you watch a baby, actually watch a baby, walking is not our natural, it's not a natural position for us. That is something you adapt into. The fetal position is. But if you watch a baby watching other people and continuously making effort, effort towards the same boom, 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 balance happens. There is one of those things connected to anything that you want to learn, any business that you want to do, anything. But it's how much are you going to keep like learning and adapting and evolving? It looks a little different because you might be reading a book or going to a seminar. However, the application of it causes you to shift your mindset in a different way. And just by seeing yourself in a different way and applying something, you become a different person. And you keep doing that long enough, boom, now it becomes integrated inside of your body.
Big time.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
Not at the moment. I'm filing that away. I was like, remember that phrase. It's very useful.
Good thing you're recording all this stuff.
Very good thing. A very good thing. Oh, God dang. I had something to ask you right on the heels of that. But I lost it. But I just think that balance is something that we have to continue to view as a practice and to get stronger in. Mm-hmm. And I just think that the habit of that is what it's about. You know, what other habits have you cultivated like that really are serving you really well?
I don't typically use the word balance, but I use the word harmony.
Okay.
Yeah. It's harmony because it could be you're 80%, I'm 20. However, if there's a harmonious energy, then it's perfect. So it's like not like a 50-50, but it's like there's a harmonious energy to it. And harmony just feels better to me. Yeah.
It does feel better.
Yeah. So I'm always focused on how can I create a spirit of harmony in anything that I do? So harmony is one. I would say my process of taking on people who have ill will towards me. That major practice. And I'm like freaking a ninja when it comes to that shit. So somebody says something negative or I took something negative, I'll stop and I'll say, wait, hold on one second. Why did I get so angry at this person? And then I'll ask, have I ever been this angry before? And felt like this. Okay, so maybe it wasn't that person, but maybe that person triggered something inside of me. I'll literally have a self-evaluation with myself. Okay, what did it trigger? What's my earliest memory of feeling like this? Oh, when I was 5 years old. What happened when I was 5? Oh yeah, I saved up all of this allowance money and my brother happens to steal the money, and then I stop trusting people. That makes a lot of sense to me. So it's actually not this person who I think made me angry. I haven't cleared my past that keeps showing up with other people that probably remind me of my brother and keep triggering and triggering. All the trigger is so that you can go back and face the shit that you weren't willing to look at when you were 5 years old or 6 years old or 7 years old or 8 years. I'm dealing with some stuff right now that is the deepest shit I've ever experienced in my life. In the exact conversation, not the exact conversation what we're talking about, it's something to do with my dad that I just found out.
I want to know.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you.
Okay.
That I literally just found out 2 weeks ago. I was crying for 5 straight days.
And your father was killed when you were 12?
When I was 12. He was murdered when I was 12. But there were certain things, and I've always asked myself. So I woke up from a cold sweat. I would say about a week and a half ago. And when I woke up, there was just like, I had this crazy dream, and it's of something that actually happened. And I was 18 years old. I just moved to Los Angeles, and I found myself in a compromising situation with another man. And I'm just like, I don't want to do this. This person is trying to blackball me in this modeling industry. And then somehow or another, he puts his hand on my knee, and I was just like, I feel so gross. But if he just puts his hand, because it's not a consensual thing. I really didn't want his hand on my knee. he was like, "Oh, I'll introduce you to this producer, this modeling agent, all these different
like a
things.
casting couch type.
Oh
situation,
yeah, type of deal." And I was like, if all I have to do is have him put his hand on my knee and I could potentially retire my mom one day, then I'll do it. I'll do it. But it was so like for me, I didn't like the feeling. I felt like I was trapped and the feeling felt familiar. And I was like, why does this feel familiar? So then 2 weeks goes by. And this is the first time I'm actually I said it on my podcast the other day, but like really saying it outside of my circle. So I was in a hotel room and the prompt from the man was, you jack off and he's in the bed doing whatever he's doing. And I'm going to hook you up with all these things. So I found a way to be in the shadows across the room and pretend like I was doing it. I was like going like this. And he was like, he thinks I'm actually jacking off. But I feel really, really gross. But if this is all I have to do and I can get this modeling career, then I'm going to do it. But why does this feeling feel familiar? 2 days later, he gave me an ultimatum and he says, if you don't do this, and it's a sexual act, I'm going to blackball you in modeling and I'm going to tell everybody everything. And I knew in that moment I had a choice. And I said, you know what? Fuck you, fuck modeling, and I don't care nothing about any of you weirdos. So I walked away. But there's hundreds of little boys that were 13, 14, 15, 16, and never walked away. And I always had that on my conscience and I blocked it out. So this is what I woke up from in my cold sweat. So having said that, the thought melted. I was like, wait, where's the thought going? Where's this going? All of a sudden, I'm in my living room from when I'm 4. I was like, wait, hold on. What's happening? There's porn on the TV. My brother's not there. My mom's not there. Why is my dad here? Why is it dark? Why is there porn on the TV? And why do I feel gross?
Wow.
And the gross that I felt was the exact energy when I kept saying, why does this feel familiar? So in that moment, I was able to connect. Oh, this was only 2 weeks ago. All of the dots, because whatever happened, I blocked it away. And inside of whatever I blocked inside of my heart, that was connected to the energy around me being very promiscuous with all these women and never feeling a thing. I mean, I never felt a thing. I could just love them and leave them just like that. Easy. And I was like, well, I never felt anything. I never felt anything when I didn't say anything about all those little boys that were getting molested and all this. I was like, there's a filter for me not being able to feel, and I don't know why. So in that moment, my whole entire body filled up with all of the shame I never felt, all of the guilt, all of the pain, all of the hurt. And I was just crying and crying. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I saw my father and all of his drunkenness and all of his tears and eyes. And I cursed him out. And I was like, you nasty fucker. I was like, you touched little kids. Because what I found out from my brother, he touched one of my family members when she was 3 up until the ages of 13. And she is the one who molested me out of anger of what he did to her. I just found this out 4 days ago. And I found out he was touched as a little boy. So I said, and I got out all of the emotions at the point of conception, at the root. Because if you didn't clean it up at the root, it's affecting your life on the surface.
Those weeds.
So I did it.
How'd you get it out?
In the same breath. Well, I literally got it all out. I was like,
you just felt it. You just let it out.
Every ounce of anger that I could think of for that guy touching all those little boys and then trying to loop me into his sick little whatever he was doing in the industry. and my dad and some other instances, I just cursed all the tears that I was afraid to cry. I got them all out, and I cursed and I said everything I wanted to say. And then I said, and I still accept you, and I forgive you. And Garrain, I looked at myself. I accept you, and I forgive you. And something goes. For the next 5 days, I was crying and crying and crying and crying. And my wife wasn't trying to fix it. She was just holding space. What else? What else? Is there anything that you need? Anything that you need? And she was so like a beautiful angel for me. And I was just crying and crying. And I was like, I cried the tears of a 4-year-old who was afraid to cry all these years. And so that's what I mean by root. Everybody in this room is controlled by their roots. So if you haven't done any root work, what you think you're working on the surface is like cutting a weed at the top. You got to remove it from the root.
Thank you for sharing that.
You are so welcome. I'm still integrating. It's deep.
I have no doubt.
And now I see why I never had relationships with men. I saw the root of it, and why when I moved to Austin, all of a sudden I'm surrounded by all of these beautiful masculine men who were building me up, because it was the universe's way of showing me a different version of a man, of the one that I experienced growing up. I was like, oh, it's time for me to level up in this area.
And the one you became for your daughter.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I wanted to circle back to something that you said earlier. You were like, you can't change the past.
No, you can't.
And I know that, but I think people try to not change it, but make up for it,
Yeah.
And I really like your perspective that you're like, no, just become this best version.
So let me share with you. You can't change the past, but you can create a better future by going into the past through the eyes of the hurt child and creating the possibility of the kind of life that you want. Let me explain.
I see where you're going.
I hate men, but it's the 4-year-old who's saying that.
Mm-hmm.
What event happened? What story was created by that event? Go back and really do some meditating and connect with that 4-year-old and forgive whatever man caused you to say, I hate all men.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, from the eyes of the little kid, I love men. I love humans, and I want to have thriving relationships with men. From there, then you can create a new future. Otherwise, your future will be a recreation of your past.
Absolutely. You're just going to keep reliving the same thing over and over.
Over and over.
You seem to have already broken free from that, though. You didn't seem to be reliving it over and over. You'd already got to Austin. You'd met your partner. You'd broken out in business, and all that. So I don't know how you were reliving that necessarily.
Well, here's the thing. I came to Austin, but when I first came to Austin and there was all these men, they were asking me, hey, let's go out to eat. I was like, for what? Like they could feel it. It was because it's one thing to be in the vicinity. It's another thing to actually be deeply connected. My hugs to men felt like this, but with my energy. And people was like, yo, your hugs feel like right now, they're like, your hugs feel different. Yeah. I was like,
really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Now they're like, what?
Oh, it's total because I engulf your whole body with all of my love, because there's not a part in me that hates me. If I say I hate man, I'm also saying I hate me.
Ooh.
An aspect of me.
That's good.
So it would make sense why I wouldn't have any relationships with men.
Which actually, if women have masculine within them, which they do, then perhaps if you're saying I have issues with men or whatever.
Oh, let me tell you something.
Hating an aspect of yourself, right?
I attracted that aspect in my wife.
Really?
Absolutely. She was a dominant masculine.
Ooh.
So I understand. I was like, well, I don't want to talk. I don't even want to deal with it. I'm like, oh, because that was the part of me that I haven't yet dealt with inside of me, which is why the blow-ups happened or why I walked away, because I kept walking away from myself. And then when I started leaning in, turning towards no, you ain't going nowhere. And I'm turning towards myself in conversations with myself. All of a sudden, I can accept my wife fully and not through the mask of, I wasn't aware, but it was a mask of the way I wanted her to be. It's just the fully of the way of who she is, the goddess that she is. But I had to see the God in me first. I had to see the goddess in me first. I had to see both of them inside of me first. Accept the feminine, accept the masculine fully. Now the relationship is way different.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And it's a practice.
Of course it is.
But if I can run,
what is it?
If I can run 42 miles without stopping and do Ironmans and doing all kind of crazy, if I can just do that at the age of 40 and 42 and do these things, if I can do that, I can do anything.
Yeah.
So if I want that relationship bad enough, where am I not willing to go inside of myself in order to make it happen? I can't wait for somebody else. How can I bring my 100 to it?
Mm-hmm.
That's it right there. So that's a major practice that goes inside of everything, because it's the base of it is relationship. Business, I deal with lots of people, is relationship. So when I can have the strategy for myself, then it gives me deeper sense of compassion when it comes to someone else who may not know that they triggered my inner little boy. So I was like, where did this come from?
That's an interesting way to look at it, because a lot of times I find compassion for people because I'm like, oh, I don't know what they're going through and stuff.
Yeah.
But you're finding compassion because they don't even know they triggered you. And so it's like this sort of a different.
So then you put out all of this anger on this person who doesn't even know. But if you don't even realize that you're triggered, but there's something deep inside of you that's triggered, it's going to keep happening no matter where you can be on Pluto right now.
Yeah.
And then a freaking Martian will come and be like, I fucking hate that Martian. He makes me mad. I'm telling you, that's how it works, because wherever you go, there you are. You will never be able to escape you. And that is a practice I feel that can get me into any room I want to be in, no matter what, however much money somebody makes or whatever. If I'm around gang members, if I'm around fighters, if I'm around sports people, it don't matter, because I have me and I have all of me. So I don't need to. That practice is a key that opens up the door to any room.
I love that. I felt that in my heart. And I want to I feel like we're probably at a point where we can start wrapping up, but I want to say some of this can feel intimidating to people, I think. So I kind of wanted to bring it back.
Okay.
One of the things that struck me about your book is that if you want to change your mindset, you don't have to go through a long process. Like, you can do it like right now. Like right now.
I can show you an easy exercise right now. Within 30 days, your whole entire life will be different.
Bring it on.
If your dominant hand is right,
it is.
Stop using it for 30 days and use your left hand for everything. Wiping your butt, taking a shower, brushing your teeth, eating, and while you eat.
What about writing?
Write with your opposite hand.
Okay.
Because it's going to operate a different part of your brain.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I taught myself all these things while I was in prison for 2.5 years. So I know what it does. So when you do that, you're literally operating a whole different neuron system that activates yourself in a different way. So for 30 days, and while you eat, blindfold yourself and sleep on the other side of the bed. If you do those 3 things for 30 days without fail, you will experience a completely different essence of life, because you're not in the it's like the mundane of your dominant, because you're only operating one part of your brain. There's this whole network. And simply by using your opposite, change your mindset.
It probably makes you more present too.
100%. Because you literally have got to, like, I'm learning to play the guitar right now because that's like my new thing. I hired a guitar coach.
Yeah, I heard you play.
And I'm learning to play the guitar, and I'm using my left hand, and all of a sudden it made my right hand stronger and it made it more acute. And I'm doing all these. I was like, yo, I'm dropping things and I'm just like catching it way different, because now my left hand is doing all these like little bitty things. And so I'm in the practice again. I'm like, this is crazy. It's happening all over again. And at the same time, I have a baby coming. I had this huge breakthrough. I'm like processing all these, apologizing to all these people that I was, just being negative or, being negative to in the past because they activated, my inner child because they triggered me. I'm literally calling
You're still
them
doing that because you were doing
right
it in the back.
now.
Wow.
I don't stop.
You don't stop.
Listen, you don't take a shower for five years and then stop for 10 days and be like, why do I stink? No, the whole purpose is take a shower every day. So you renew your mind, you clean your mind every day by just like those things. So when I call and apologize, let go of resentment, forgiveness, that's like cutting the weeds to this beautiful garden that I'm wanting to create. And when I learn more, like what happened with my dad, I'm like, who do I need to call? Because I know there are some people, there's some women, there are some people that I really didn't know how I was being to them. Hey, I just wanted to apologize to you. This and this, I'm in the process of transforming my life. And I just want to say, I'm sorry. Oh my God, thank you so much. And all of a sudden, every time I feel this. And the last thing I want to say is, yeah, it can be intimidating. But you know what's crazy to think about? To go your whole life and right before you die, all of the books you never wrote, all of the ideas you never put out, all the girl you never asked out, all the guy you never asked out, all of your dreams, goals, and aspirations are looking at you and say, we've got to die because you were too selfish to take yourself higher. That is intimidating for me. So while I'm still alive, give me the platform. If I need to change, if I need to grow, whatever I need to do, I'm going to do it. Because I don't want to be the person who dies with regret. That's intimidating for me. So you choose your intimidation.
That's a kick-ass reframe.
Yeah. Choose your intimidation. I don't want to change. All right.
All right, here's the price you pay.
You'll see what your life looks like for not changing.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah, when I read Story Brand by Donald Miller, he is like, okay, if you're branding yourself, who's the villain? And he's like, you can't choose fear or something like that. He was like, you have to choose something more tangible. And I sat with that for a long time. And I was like, who's the villain in my brand? And I came up with, the Grim Reaper. Time. I was like, that's the villain. That's who we're fighting against. It's like, are you going to get it done? And you just voiced it really, really beautifully.
Thank you.
That's what we're against. Like, how are you going to end it? What's your story going to be? You're going to use your voice. Is there anything else you want to share before we go?
I want to close it with this. This one's always a good one.
Okay.
You can't see the picture while you're in the frame. And when I was living in my car for 2.5 years in 2011, and I had that moment of awakening, and I said, okay, I'm tired of fighting. I don't want to fight anymore. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I want to be surrounded by nothing but positive people. I just want to inspire people. And I want to make a bunch of money, but I want the money to represent something that I passionately believe in. Just show me a sign. Right there was my spark. So what I want to leave people with, can I look at them?
You sure can.
What I want to leave people with is when you die, your physical death, on your tombstone, there is a date, and there's a dash, and there's another date. Right now, you're living in your dash because your first date was the date that you were physically born. I was dead when I was living in my car, but I realized that I could actually live. And so I decided to live. And so I extended my dash. So right now, everybody's living in their dash. What determines that last date on your tombstone, like what determines if it keeps going on into a legacy, is how you choose to live your dash. Are you going to use it complaining, gossiping, making fun of people, never forgiving people, never letting go of resentment? Or are you going to make your dash into something that your grandkids want to brag about during elementary school? Well, this is my grandfather. You can actually do that right now. So what is your dash going to be made of from here on out? Remember to change your mindset, change your life, and make something of your dash.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And I encourage everyone to pick up your book. I've only read it once. You said the magic.
The magic is in the third read.
I do have books that I read just over and over.
Yeah, because you read. I tell people all the time. It's like, the people read for memory, read it for mastery. Bruce Lee says, "Fear not the man who practices, 1,000 kicks. Fear the man that practices one kick 1,000 times."
Mm-hmm.
So when you read a book and then you start mastering it, you read a book until it starts reading you, and then your life looks like the messages that are in the books.
What do you read over and over?
I read The Power of Positive Thinking over 300 times.
Over 300 times?
Yes, between the paperback and audiobook. And
Holy
people are like,
shit.
"How are you so positive?" I'm like, well, I used to be really negative, and I read this book called The Power of Positive Thinking over and over and over and over, and then it starts reading me. So my life looks like abundance, and it looks like positivity, and it looks like gratitude, looks like influence, and it looks like successful businesses. It's because the philosophies inside of the book are literally running my life. Those are my programs.
Yeah, I've got one. Have you ever read A Happy Pocket Full of Money?
No, what's that?
I'm going to get you a copy.
Okay,
I'm going to
cool.
get you a copy. I'm on my 6th or 7th time through it. It's fairly thick, but I only read a few pages a day. But literally, this last time through, I just understood the title. And I was like, oh, damn, that's good. And he even says it in the beginning, read this a bunch. So yeah, this is an easier read than that. And so it'll be easy for me to read the second, third time.
The exercises is where the magic is.
I love that you have exercises at the end of every chapter. Big fan of that. So, and I actually haven't engaged in those yet. So second time through, I for sure will. So,
and then the third time you will have results, and then you're going to read it again, and you're like, this is so different than the first time I read it.
Isn't that weird how that happens?
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah.
And everybody can follow you at Garrain.
Garrain.Jones, my website, GarrainJones.com. I have my own podcast, which is Welcome Home with Garrain Jones, which is very new. So I'm like a rookie. Everybody's like, make a podcast. I'm like, all right, people.
Oh, you're made for podcasts.
Yeah.
This is yes. I'm sure it's just going to blow up.
So I'm excited.
I'm very excited for you. I highly recommend that. And just thank you. Thank you for being so candid and so open and, not holding back.
Oh, you're so welcome. People don't want the hold back. They want the real stuff.
That's where the magic is.
Yeah.
100%. Thank you. I love you.
Welcome.
And I'm so happy you were here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much to today's guest, Garrain Jones, transformation coach and motivational speaker. I feel motivated. I still am like high off of that conversation, and it just lifted my heart in a beautiful way. And I'm sitting here going like, am I going to try to do everything with my left hand for a while? I don't know. I'll get back to you on that for sure. But it's definitely a really cool experiment, and I'm all about the experiments. So why not, right? Big thanks today to you for showing up. Thanks to our crew at Hot Pie, to Colton and Sarah, and our live studio audience, which included my daughter right over here. I know. Woohoo. Do you want to come say hi in the camera? You can if you want. And yeah, I think in closing, just, I just loved his ending, and that we all have this power within us to live our dash, to make it count before that Grim Reaper shows up, before our time is up. How are you going to live your dash? Yeah, well, you're here, and that's a step in the right direction for sure. So thank yourself for showing up for you. And yeah, don't forget to do all the things. Rate, review, subscribe. Super grateful for all of that. And we will have more contests and habit coaching giveaways too coming up. All right. So thank you so much for being here. And I'm wishing you peace and love and health and wealth and abundance and just the best dash that you can be and your best self. Till next time.
Thank you so much for listening. If you liked this show, please rate and review. It totally matters. And I encourage you to spread the love too, and share this episode with a friend if you feel called. Find me and my newsletter sign up at amyedwards.com. And you can also connect with me on Instagram at realamyedwards, or in Clubhouse at Amy Edwards, or write to me. It's amy@amyedwards.com.